I'm asked to tell the story of the things that led up to my writing the Memphis Blues. That story would be incomplete if I didn't say something about the era of ragtime. That was syncopation without much melody. It was my good fortune to live for 2 years in the state of Mississippi and to hear the crude singing of the Negro down there. I also had experiences in my hometown, Florence, Alabama, where I carried water for the men who worked in the rock quarry and carried water for the men who worked in the furnaces, who always sang as they worked. I heard bits of song that they sang. Something like this. Eh-oh, eh-oh, I wouldn't live in Cairo. And that made me wonder about Cairo. What was wrong with Cairo? Was it too far up north to be considered down south? Was it too far down south to be considered up north? It was just such snatches of songs like this that turned my attention to Negro music. When we speak of the blues that carry three-line stanzas, and we want to tell the story of the blues, we can't tell it without the story of Joe Turner. Joe Turner was the brother of Pete Turney, governor of the state of Tennessee, who pressed Negroes into peonage and took them down the Mississippi River to the farms. To do this, they had decoys that lured Negroes in Memphis to crap games. When they were arrested and put in prison, women looking for their husbands who were late coming home would ask, I wonder where my husband is. Then they would be told, haven't you heard about Joe Turner? He's been here and gone. He had a long chain with 50 links to it, where he could press Negroes in handcuffs and take them away. So the Negroes around Memphis made up a song. They tell me Joe Turner's come and gone. Oh, Lordy, tell me Joe Turner's come and gone. Oh, Lordy, got my man and gone. He come with 40 links of chain. Oh, Lordy, come with 40 links of chain. Oh, Lordy, got my man and gone. If you examine that poem, you'll see that it's three-line structure. That is the way the blues are composed, in three-line stanzas. That was an important contribution that led up to my writing the Memphis Blues. In telling the story of the blues, there are so many who do not know that back in the 90s, I was the head of a minstrel band that toured the United States, Canada, Cuba, and Mexico. And we always played an hour of classical concert music on the square. There are people who think that the blues sprang into being without a proper musical foundation, but this is not the case. I went to Memphis. I had in my band some of the best musicians in the country, but we couldn't get work to do. There were two favorite bands in the town, Bynum and Eckford's. There was a mayor campaign coming on, a three-cornered contest. The other two bands were hired by two candidates, which left my band open to be hired by those who managed the campaign of Mr. E.H. Crump, who was running for mayor. The bands played the popular music of the day, New York hits, And I knew that a band of strangers playing the same music wouldn't get as much recognition as if we would write something of our own that would give us a stamp, a certain stamp. And I wrote a little tune that I called Mr. Crump because Mr. Crump was running on a clean-up ticket. He was going to drive out gambling and drive out other things with which gambling was associated. And there were those among us who didn't believe he was going to do what he said he was going to do. You know how things are today. So we made up a little song called Mr. Crump. And it went something like this. You want to be my man, you got to give me $40 down. You want to be my man, you got to give me $40 down. Don't be my man, your baby's going to leave this town. Well, Mr. Crump don't allow no easy riders here. Mr. Crump don't allow no easy riders here. We don't care what Mr. Crump don't allow. We go to Bell House anyhow. Mr. Crump won't allow it. Ain't gonna have it here. Well, we played that on the corner of Main and Madison, and it stopped the traffic. Stenographers danced with the bosses. Men ran up to the band to know what's the name of that, and we said, it's Mr. Crump. We had to play it over and over and over. And Mr. Crump got elected, and Memphis grew so that if a band couldn't play Mr. Crump, they couldn't get a job. Instead of finding ourselves loafing most of the time, I put 67 musicians to work playing Mr. Crump. And then later I published this number, and I couldn't use Mr. Crump's name as he'd become the boss of Tennessee politics. So I changed the name from Mr. Crump to the Memphis Blues, which was the first blues published. And the Memphis Blues carried the first jazz break for the tenor saxophone. Folks have just been down to Memphis town. That's where the people smile on you all the while. Hospitality, they were good to me. I couldn't spend a dime, I had the grandest time. I went out a-dancing with the Tennessee deer. They had a fella there named Handy with a band you should hear. While those white folks swayed, how those band boys played real harmony. I never will forget the tune that Handy called the Memphis Blues. Oh, them blues. They had a fiddler there that always slickened his hair, and folks he sure could pull some bow. And when the big bassoon seconded the trombone's croon, that's where the break came in. It moaned just like a sinner on revival day, on revival day. That melancholy strain, that ever-haunting refrain, is like a morning sorrow song. Here comes the very part that wraps a spell around my heart. That's why the break came on the sax. It sets me wild to hear that loving tune again, the Memphis Blues. After I had written several blues, there were hybrid forms that came into being that made people look down on the blues. The stories that they told were not attractive. They were belittling. And I've always felt that the blues deal with an epoch in our history, and coming from the same people that gave us the spiritual, they reflected a nominal freedom. All the blues that I've written are either historic, a folklore, a folk song. So to write a blues that expresses the feeling of a people and a hope for their future on earth, I wrote a philosophical song, a blues that I called Way Down South, Where the Blues Began. It refers to history. It refers to those things that give us faith. And even I attribute certain qualities to the South that may be disputed. I live in the hope that the South one day will be truly representative of all the ideals for which America stands. And I put that in that song, Way Down South Where the Blues Began, which I shall sing with the chorus and play on my trumpet. Tired nerves twitching from sorrow and care, tired feet itching to take me somewhere. Southland bewitching beckons me there.
Calls me home, tells me never want to roam.
Hard times, that's all I hear on this way.
That's all we hear on this way.
Odd dimes, they're growing thinner each day.
They grow so thin each day. Good times, just round the corner, so they say. But wonders, way down south, in nature's own garden. Way down south, where hearts never harden. Like a grinding stone on old Miller's wheel, you'll find the world there, just like a grandfather, and all of creation, in peace alone, where love is real. No tender heart is in all of our hearts here. We understand 'twas His command and His demand that the world give to life worth living. Way down south, where the blues began, where the blues began. One to go down, way down where the Father of War, way down there, and all of His daughters, like a human stream of leisurely long. They wear the road, way down south, where the cross, sunny south, way down where the dawn. All day a dream, all night a song. Lords and all kinds of like Egypt, lonely, and his plan. He had his plan, made the world borrow. His land is from sorrow. Way down south, long ago, where the blues began.
I'm thankful for an opportunity to talk about a musical setting that I gave to a song, They That Sow in Tears shall reap in joy, in which I was helped by my friend Dr. Charles L. Cook in putting down notes that I couldn't see. And in talking about this song, I'm thankful for the Bible, in which the Psalms of David appear, giving inspiration to one who follows the lines of the poet and was inspired by his harp. I'm thankful in talking about this song for the gift of song that had its beginning in family prayer around the hearth of an Alabama cabin. I'm thankful for the memories of a mother who in her prayers always said, I thank thee, Lord, that we live in a Christian land and a Bible country. I'm thankful for being a part of an oppressed race and that I didn't follow the golden calf of music, but through adversity was thrown down amongst the lowly and took out of their hearts a song that caught the wings of the morning and fell on the world's weary ear, and then found a place to cheer and comfort the heart of humanity. It is my hope that this song will do the same. I'm thankful for my friends with me who are helping me find the hidden talents that might be lost. I'm thankful for them for taking the bushel from the light that might be hidden. I'm thankful for the faith that gave me the spirit that enabled me to touch the hem of the garments that I might see. So you see, I have felt through experience the truth that they that sow in tears shall reap in joy. We are now going to sing They That Sow in Tears with Dr. Cook at the piano. I'll play my trumpet, and a choir will render this song that is very beautiful to me.
The soul in tears. with rejoicing, bringing them with him, bringing his sheaves with him, bringing his sheaves with him, Lord, Lord.
When the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion, when the Lord turned again
the captivity of Zion, we were like a dream, and was a mouth filled with laughter, and the tongue with singing.
Most of my blues and important compositions were written on Beale Street or in that vicinity. I liked the life of Beale Street. It was exciting, so much so that I was 2 years trying to write a number called Beale Street, but I couldn't find words for it. One night, after leaving my office, and it was after midnight, I passed by Pee Wee's saloon. Next to it was a barber shop. This barber shop was open, say, about 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, "Come on, let's go home." "What you staying up so late for?" And he says, "I haven't closed up because ain't nobody got killed yet." And I struck myself and said, "That's it." My brother Charlie says, "What is it?" I said, "It's the Beale Street Blues." And I went home and wrote the words to the Beale Street Blues that night. And when we speak of the thought nobody got killed yet, I looked up the history of Memphis, and it had the record of being the most murderous city in the world. And when I think of those days, how glad we were to get a job for $2 and $2.50 a night. To think what a little song can do for a man and for a city. I'm happy to tell you that since those days, Memphis has torn down the old market. It was one of the show places, cut a street across Beale, and named a park or square for me. It has built a $200,000 W.C. Handy theater, and they do so many things that make me know that I've been rewarded in more ways than one, and especially without having to take the account of the dollar. So, Beale Street brought a lot of happiness and cheer to people all over the world. Our next number will be the Beale Street Blues, which I'll sing for you, and Dr. Cook will play it. I've seen the lights of gay Broadway, Old Market Street down by the Frisco Bay. I've strolled the Prada, I've gambled on the Burrs. The 7 wonders of the world I've seen, and many are the places I have been. Take my advice, folks, and see old Beale Street first. You'll see pretty browns in beautiful gowns. You'll see tailor-mades and hand-me-downs. You'll meet honest men, pickpocket skilled. You'll find that business never closes till somebody gets killed. You'll see Hogner's restaurants, chillin' cafes. You'll see jugs that tell of bygone days and places, once places, now just a sham. You'll find golden balls enough to pave the new Jerusalem. If Beale Street could talk, if Beale Street could talk, married men would have to take their beds and walk, except one or two who never drink booze, and the blind man on the corner who sings this Beale Street blues. I'd rather be here than any place I know. I'd rather be right here than any place I know. It's going to take the sergeant for to make me go. Going to the river, maybe by and by. Mississippi River, and there's a reason why. 'Cause the river's wet and old Beale Street's gone dry. In 1915, my race held an exhibition at the Coliseum in Chicago called the Lincoln Jubilee. Artists, sculptors, painters, poets, musicians from all over the nation poured in their exhibits. And after the success of the Memphis Blues, I was invited to write a number for the Coliseum exhibit. I wrote what we call a march, Hail to the Spirit of Freedom. And on the title page, I had a picture of Lincoln, of Frederick Douglass, of Booker Washington, and it was dedicated to the millions of my people who had been liberated and who blessed the pen of Lincoln. In the finale of this march, Hail to the Spirit of Freedom, I wrote some words. God of our fathers, in thy loving kindness, thou hast brought us dry-shod through the stormy sea. Thy truth shall free us, thy light remove our blindness. Ethiopia stretches forth her hands unto thee. Our chorus will sing this Afro-American hymn.
Oh
likewise thy love that led thee to offer thy Son for all mankind on Calvary's tree.
Lord God our Father, God of the nations, thou comprehendest all the music of the seas. To thee we offer our songs and adoration, inspired by freedom that is ours for these years.
Back in 1907, I was a great admirer of Theodore Roosevelt, and I wrote a march for military band, which I called Roosevelt's Triumphal March. I didn't have any luck with that number, but realizing what Theodore Roosevelt foresaw in American history, his aggressiveness in digging the Panama Canal and inviting us to be prepared for whatever might come, I saw the wisdom of his efforts that seemed to have been brushed aside until now, after 2 world wars. I see the wisdom of his big stick policy and have been told by great minds that I'm right in writing a song which I called the Big Stick Blues March, dedicated to the big stick policies of Theodore Roosevelt. All men up, not some men down, said Teddy Ott after San Juan Hill. All men up, not some men down, that's Harry T's Civil Rights Bill. A Republican, a Democrat, both American, for world peace, both in accord. They stand at Armageddon and battle for the Lord. Harry T. told the world what makes the UN tick, the same as Teddy told us once about a big stick. When you meet your neighbor in the morning, speak softly, but carry a big stick. Sing the Big Stick Blues, this will go far. Dig the Panama Canal, preparedness, that's the big word that stops a war. We let the same old bees sting us twice, by jucks, and tossed away one big stick worth about $50 billion. When you meet your neighbor in the morning, speak softly, but carry a big stick. Sing the Big Stick Blues, this will go far. They kept us out of war, and then they put us in, made democracy so safe that we had to fight again. And while we slept so unprepared, a neighbor lit a fuse, and that's why I'm singing the Big Stick Blues, lest we heed Teddy's warning. Prepare, we all may be singing Please don't help old Mr. Bear when you meet your neighbor. In the morning speak softly, but carry a big stick. Sing the big stick blues. This will go far, very far. I couldn't tell the story of the St. Louis Blues and leave out one about a morning when my old teacher down in Florence, Alabama, called our class together, and instead of hearing our lessons, began to question us as to what we intended to do and be in life. Some wanted to be doctors, lawyers, teachers, merchants, and so forth, and when it came to me, I said I want to be a musician. He read me a lecture, said music would bring me to the gutter. Musicians were idlers, dissipated characters. He wrote my father a note which when he read, he said, "Sonny, I'd rather follow you to your grave than to see you be a musician." I was determined, and I learned a lot about music without them knowing it. And then I got away from home and worked a year to get money to go to Wilberforce University to study theology. And we had the Cleveland Depression. Found ourselves broke and hungry. I organized a quartet in Birmingham, Alabama to go to the World's Fair in Chicago. We sang our way to Chicago, but the fair had been postponed. Our quartet sang its way to St. Louis, looking for work which we couldn't get, and we disbanded. And I found that my teacher's prophecy was true because music did bring me to the gutter. It brought me to sleep on the levee of the Mississippi River, on the cobblestones, broken, hungry. I could have returned to my hometown, Florence, but I decided on that levee to fight it out with two handies. One that says go back home and get ready and go to Wilberforce, and the other said fight it out and stick to your music, which I did. 21 years later, all of this hardship went into one song, one night. And if you've ever slept on cobblestones or had nowhere to sleep, you can understand why I began this song with, "I hate to see the evening sun go down." I hate to see the evening sun go down. Hate to see the evening sun go down. 'Cause my baby, he done left this town. Feeling tomorrow like I feel today. Feel tomorrow like I feel today. I'll pack my trunk and make my getaway. St. Louis woman with a diamond rings pulls that man around by her apron strings. 'Twant for powder and for store-bought hair. That man of mine wouldn't have gone nowhere, nowhere. Got the St. Louis blues, just as blue as I can be. My man's got a heart like a rock cast in the sea. or else he wouldn't have gone so far from me. My daughter Catherine is going to sing the St. Louis Blues for you, accompanied by the chorus and my trumpet. I hope you like it.
I hate to see the evening sun go down. Hate to see the evening sun go down. 'Cause my baby, he done left this town. Feeling tomorrow like I feel today. Feel tomorrow like I feel today. I'll pack my trunk, make my getaway. St. Louis woman, where a diamond ring. Golden men round by Apron Street. Point for father and for snowball head. The man I love would not go nowhere, nowhere. Got this St. Louis blues, just as blue as I can be. That man's got a heart like a rocket in the sea. Or else he wouldn't have gone so far from me. Like a schoolboy lost his heart. Like a Kentucky colonel lost his midnight ride. I love my boy, he's my dear heart.
I see, though my eyes are closed, I see, though my eyes are closed, I see so much good in all mankind, much more than I e'er supposed. My thoughts are the eyes of my heart. My thoughts are the eyes of my heart. They bypass the evil for the good and keep them far apart. O Lord, who has made me see, continue to strengthen me, though darkness o'er me imposed. Though darkness o'er me imposed, I count my blessings. Everyone I see, though my eyes are closed.